Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos from Huntington. It is a beautiful day out there, a little humid, little too humid for my taste, but the sun was out. Big clouds in the sky were flowing by today, and there was even a nice breeze. And so for the day after Yom Kippur, all is well in the world. This is the Shabbat that rabbis love Shabbat. I mean, that's a given. But the Shabbat that falls immediately after Yom Kippur, when Yom Kippur is on a Thursday, is one that the rabbis would prefer happened the following Tuesday. It just seems like we were here yesterday for 25 hours, and we were. But we made it through, and next on the horizon is my favorite of the holidays, of the festivals, of the Shalosh Regalim, Sukkot. It only because it happens in the autumn, and so I was born in the autumn, and I have a special connection to that particular festival. So that's next on the horizon. But compared to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Sukkot is easy. Sukkot is easy. You can eat whatever you want, but you have to eat it in the sukkah. So there's no fast, there's nothing, but enjoying the outdoors if you have a sukkah. One piece of good news, Gila, our high holiday Shlichat Tzibor, is safely ensconced back in Queens, apartment 6X, and she enjoyed her stay. We got her to the airport for her 5:15 flight this morning. So she's back in Queens. So, all right, let's welcome Shabbat. And we're going to start. We have Suzanne up here, and she's going to bench lift for us this evening. And so you can find the readings and the bracha on pages 3 and 2, respectively.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
There you go. A big flame too.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Amen. So used to hearing Shel Yom Tov the past couple of weeks, that or Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur at the house, that hearing Shel Shabbat is a little jarring right now. All right. Let's have a responsive reading. Page 6. Page 6. The second reading, let's do it responsively. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. All right. We'll continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi, one of the Kabbalistic pieces, the mystical pieces for Kabbalat Shabbat. As I mentioned before, Kabbalat Shabbat comes to us from the mystics in Tzfat. It was not part of our weekly prayer services until after, say, 1492. And 1492 is important because that's when the Jews of Spain were expelled, and many of them wound up in Tzfat. And so the Mekubalim, the Kabbalists that we know, Yosef Karo, Moshe Cordovero, all of these famous Mekubalim who give us what we consider modern mysticism, because anything less than 2,000 years old in Judaism is modern. We have them to thank, and they wound up in Tzfat or their ancestors wound up in Tzfat, and then they, of course, could be born later. But they give us Kabbalat Shabbat because the rabbis in Tzfat felt that we need an entryway into Shabbat. Although this week, not so much. Yesterday was Yom Kippur, and now it's Shabbat. We're pretty well keyed up for spirituality right now. But let's do, we'll sing Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. We almost have it all. We almost have it all. Page 20, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'libor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nehesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzi mitoch afecha, Rav lahak shevet b'yemecha bacha, V'hu yachamol alaychem la. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Itnahari me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartei chami, Al yad ben ishai beit lachmi, Korva el nafshi gehala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Hitorari, Ki va'orech kumi uri, shir daveri, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Lo tevoshi v'lo techomi, Mahatish tochachi umatemi, Bachyechesu aniyehe ami, V'nivneta ir al tila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taritzi, Al yadish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Bohi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha uvtzola, Toch emunei am segula. Bohi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Page 22, verses or selections from Psalm 92, one of the Psalms that the rabbi selected for Kabbalat Shabbat. And of course, Psalm 92 is the psalm reserved specifically for Shabbat. Let's read the outdented paragraph together in English and then go back to the Hebrew for Tzaddik Katamar. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzaddik yifrach ke'erez balvanon yihiskeh shetulim b'beit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu Yahafrichu O Jenuvun Beseva Beshenim Vera'ananim Yihiyu Lehagi Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashare, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know usually it's Chatzi Kaddish here, but we've just concluded a real service, a full service. So it's traditional to end with Mourner's Kaddish at this point. So we're going to turn back or ahead, depending, to 294 for the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hiruteh, v'yamlik malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, v'amiran v'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Page 146, Baruch Hu. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Page 147, let's read responsively in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in succession, and the years vanish. Your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu v'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla ve'ahabatecha al tosir mimenu li'olamim baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amho Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol avachaha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alvavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlektecha havaderech, uveshokbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam le'ohot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafahot beineinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, lemahan tizkeruhu va'asitehem et kol mitzvotai, Vitem kedoshim leloechem. Ahani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151. Let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp, and perfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
We break everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot, ohosef ele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, Mokeyam lifnei Moshe Zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, uga'alo mi'at chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Top of page 153, the second bracha of the evening Shema, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Let's read together in the English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Page 154, Vishamru, verses from the book of Exodus, from the book of Shemot. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We are at the Amidah, the centerpiece for the evening service. We'll chant together 155, 156, 157. There are no special insertions at all this week, which is a change. And once we finish 157, we'll continue silently through the end on 167, where you can read the English, you can follow the Hebrew, or you could offer up your own prayer during the time of the Amidah. But we'll begin together 155. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Omer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Yezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Li'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atara L'Hoshia, Morid Hatahal, Mechalkei Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Givurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Nimit Umechayem, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hametim. Still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to continue reading together in English on page 160. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 163, a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of Hakarat HaTov, recognizing the good. And those who are with us and watching, lots of gratitude for making it and making it through, experiencing Yom Kippur. If we say that we made it through, it makes it sound like it's more onerous than it really needs to be. It's an important day, but it's a day of great joy, actually, according to the rabbis. much more joyful than, say, Rosh Hashanah. And there's a class in there. So, but this week, outside of the high holidays, I reconnected with a friend of mine, and it's been a number of years since we chatted, and it was nice this week to reach out to him and to chat. When I spoke to him, his daughter was barely a year old, and now she's 6. So the time does go by. But so think about the good in your life, and keep that close to your heart as we read responsibly on 163 at the top. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world, our hearts in your hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise is the source of being.
And we'll close out on 164. We'll close the Amidah with the prayer for peace. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol heit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Praise to you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivorech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. And jump ahead to 253, the Mishaberach, for those who need a little extra healing, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual. Keep them close to your thoughts and keep them close to your heart and your thoughts. Mishaberach, middle of 253. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We're going to move to 258, prayers for our community, and we'll read these together. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, Hashanotcha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness, to untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. That, of course, is from yesterday's morning's Haftarah, Isaiah 58, very, very famous prophetic writing on what kind of fast God desires. 259. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, yishlayu ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Golo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagein Aleha B'Evrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitcha L'Rasheha Sareha V'Yoatzeha, V'Tatne Be'etz Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, B'simchat olam liyoshveha, v'nomar amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
It is the week of Parashat Ha'azinu. Ha'azinu is the last parasha that we read in Shul during the year. It's the penultimate, right? I love that word. It's the penultimate. It's the next to the last parsha of the Torah. And the final one, Zot HaBracha, gets read on Simchat Torah. So whenever Simchat Torah falls, that's when we read Zot HaBracha. So Ha'azinu is the last one that we get to read in Shul. And basically it's a prayer, a poem recited by Moshe just before he ascends Mount Nebo. Now that's where he's going to die. So this is literally his swan song. He declares God's deeds are perfect and just, that God is never false, but God is always tzaddik v'yashar hu. God is true, God is righteous, God is just, and upright, yashar. Moshe tells them to remember their history and their special relationship with God. Remember that this is the generation that did not experience the miracles of going out from Egypt. They were not present physically at Har Sinai when Moshe received the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 utterances and the Torah. So Moshe's constantly reminding them to remember. And that this special relationship with God begins with their ancestors. God was the one who took care of their ancestors and cared for them even when they turned away. Right? So Moshe has been reminding them that your history with God has been less than stellar, or at least your ancestors' history with God has been less than stellar. And you're going to make mistakes too, but try not to make the same ones that your parents and grandparents made. Moshe reminds them as well that God could have wiped out their parents and their grandparents at any moment, but chose not to because, well, God didn't want the nations of the world or the enemies to think that Israel brought it on themselves and that it wasn't a punishment from God. Moshe says that it is God who constantly gives or saves Israel from destruction. Right? And God is the one who deals in life and death. Right? It's all in God's hand. Moshe, although while this particular poem is not necessarily the feel-good message that people might expect, Moshe does say that God will bring vengeance upon Israel's enemies, that Israel should take to heart the Torah and teach it to their children. And he says, it is your very life, right? This is what will give your life meaning. At the very end of this parsha, Moshe is commanded by God to climb Mount Nebo, where he is going to die. And he leaves us this beautiful poem with its vivid imagery. Shabbat Shalom, right? That is your Torah portion in a nutshell. Now, we have just concluded Yom Kippur, and we are still in the midst of the days of awe, believe it or not. Most people, once you hit Yom Kippur, it's all over. The holiday season is over, and we're going to go back to our lives. But the days of awe continue all the way through Sukkot, and actually, they should continue longer. Right? Our lives are very predictable. We eat the same food regularly. We drink the same coffee or tea. We fall into predictable habits. And then we fall into ruts. It's the same old, right? So we kind of, go through the motions, as it were, right? We don't look for anything new. We don't try anything new. We kind of get stilted and stunted, as it were. But for children, life is magical, right? There are always new things to be discovered, new things to try, new things to learn. And for many adults, it gets harder as we grow older. I don't want to try something new. I like what I have. I'm too old to learn. Well, Rabbi Akiva was 40. The Rabbi Akiva was 40 before he learned Hebrew. And we quote him in the Gemara all the time. So if Rabbi Akiva didn't get really started until after his 40th birthday, those of us who are over 40, we can learn new things as well. But I love watching children. I love watching children play, actually, because it takes me back. I'll watch kids play, and I'll wind up thinking about what I was doing when I was their age, what my best friend and I were doing, how we engaged the world, right? What we did, how we had a sense of awe and wonder. And that's what we need. We need a sense of awe that carries us through the days of awe, right? We were in God's presence for the entire month of Elul, and then truly in God's presence on Rosh Hashanah, and really like standing right next to God or in front of God on Yom Kippur. And so we have that sense of awe, the majesty of the machzor, the beauty of the prayers. And now it's back to usual, Yom, right? We're back to usual. A number of us have bucket lists, right? And I don't like that name, a bucket list. You just check something off. And those are usually big ticket items, right? Go to Japan, write a novel, win an Oscar. Or if you can't win an Oscar, win a Tony. If you can't win a Tony, well, you know what I mean, right? But those bucket lists aren't enough. Abraham Joshua Heschel, one of the great rabbis of the 20th century, said, "Our goal should be to live life in radical amazement, to get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed." Such simple words, and yet such beautiful concepts and such a profound idea. It's not that we should just pull out our amazement during the high holidays. That's expected. Someone was sharing with me a quote from Rabbi Yarecki from Charleston. He says, what happens between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah is more important than what happens between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. That's really what Heschel is saying. He's like, you come out of the high holidays, keep that sense of awe, keep that sense of wonder. Look at the world fresh, and you'll be surprised at what you discover. So my advice, my unsolicited advice, and I'm going to take it as well, do something new each day. Something new. Doesn't have to be a big ticket thing. Doesn't have to be a showstopper, as I like to call them. And there's no rule, nowhere in the tradition that tells us that we have to follow the same routines. You don't have to do everything the same every day. Find a new activity. Will show us new ways of living life. And the activity can be mundane, right? Every morning, I have a pot of tea and 5 British biscuits, right? The tea that I drink is Lapsang Souchong, which is a smoked tea. I absolutely adore this tea. I could drink it all day, every day, and never get tired of it. I'm going to try a new tea. I'm going to try something that I normally wouldn't try, just to see. I might like it, I might not, but the point is that I will have tried it. And I will understand that not all tea tastes like Lapsang Souchong. So try new coffee. Try something different. Read a new author. Read a new genre, right? Read something that you normally wouldn't read. Try it. Take a new route home, right? Don't drive the same way every day. Don't walk the same way every day. Find something new. And again, it doesn't have to be huge. It could be something small. But being open to new possibilities leads us to Souchong that I drink every day. Try something new. Open yourself to awe. Open yourself to wonder. Start tonight. Start tomorrow. Start Sunday. Do something new. You'll be glad you did. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Sam.
Kiddush.
Kiddush. I kept waiting for you to yell Kiddush yesterday. Because I would have gone and looked for it. You know that. But not on Yom Kippur. No Kiddush in Shul for Yom Kippur. But Kiddush on Friday nights. Vayehi Erev, Vayehi Voker, Yom HaShishi. Vayechulu HaShamayim v'ha'aretz v'chol tzivav. Vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i. Vayikadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom techila lamikrae kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim. Ki anu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'avdim b'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat. Page 282. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'kur aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, Umishkachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu shehu notesh shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'moshe yikaro b'shamayim mimal u'shchinatu zo v'govhei meromi Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efesu Lato Kagatu Betorahato Liadata Hayom Lehashibota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Bashamayim Mimahal Yaretz, mitachat einod. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'nehemar, haya Adonai, lamelech al kol haaretz, vayom tahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Since we are still in the midst of the High Holy Day season, we're going to read responsively in English. Those who are here have it. Unfortunately, the Siddur that we use on Shabbat does not have the full psalm. And so we're going to read Psalm 27, the psalm for the season of repentance. I like it for the days of awe and wonder, a psalm of David. We'll read it responsively. Adonai is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? Adonai is the strength of my life. Whom shall I dread?
Evildoers draw near to slander me. When foes threaten, they stumble and fall. Though armies be arrayed against me, I have no fear. The world's wars threaten me, I remain steadfast in my faith.
One thing I ask of Adonai, for this I yearn, to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to behold God's beauty, to pray in God's sanctuary.
Hiding me in his shrine, safe from peril, God will shelter me beyond the reach of disaster, and raise my head high above my enemies.
I will bring God offerings with shouts of joy, singing, chanting praise to Adonai.
Adonai, hear my voice when I call. Be gracious to me and answer. It is you whom I seek, says my heart. It is your presence that I seek, Adonai.
Do not hide from me. Do not reject your servant. You have always been my help. Do not abandon me. Forsake me not, my God of deliverance.
Though my father and my mother leave me, Adonai will care for me.
Teach me your way, Adonai. Guide me on the right path to confound my oppressors.
Do not abandon me to the will of my foes, for false witnesses have risen against me, purveyors of malice and lies.
Yet I have faith that I shall surely see Adonai's goodness in the land of the living. Hope in Adonai, be strong, take courage, and hope in Adonai. Le'ulei hamanti lerot b'tuv Adonai be'eretz chayim, kaveh el Adonai, chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kaveh el Adonai. This week we observed the following yahrzeits: Joe Harry Cohen, David Cohen's father; Frank Gableman, Steve Shaddles' maternal grandfather; Bess Levine, Marilyn Cohen's mother; Helen Rose, Harold Rose's mother; Dr. David Weinswag, husband of Tammy, father of 5; Ferdinand Fichtelberger, relative of David Field; Hannah Fichtelberger, relative of David Field; Hedvig Heyman, David Field's grandmother. It's an interesting name. Hedvig is usually a male's name. I have to check that. Moritz Hyman, relative of David Field; Jane Jackson, wife of Clarence; Minnie Jacobs; Rowena Pickholtz, Bob's wife; Linda Klein's stepmother; Hal Schiff, Rena Stern's uncle; Gusti Billig, Ernst Billig's mother; Bertha Mann, related to Barrett Skoll; Rebecca Strauss, related to Harold; Bella Weingartner, mother of Hedda Hess; Lloyd Max Amster; Herman Brodoff, Mark's father; Anna Gottlieb, Jack Gottlieb's mother; Elsa Simon Landau, related to Bert and Grant Landau and Pete Bro; Max Shrinsky, relative of Sherry Solacek; Sarah Kaplan Cohen, mother of David, Jimmy, Saul, Edith, and Sylvia; Dora Cohen Mayer, related to Jane Glick. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Hirute, Be'amlik Malchute, B'chayechon, U'biomechon, U'vchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Ubizman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehe Shmech Rabbah Uvarach L'olam U'lomei Maya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh. V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei Kudusha Brichu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbachata V'nechamata. The Amiram B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav U'ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. All right, friends. We're just about done. Let's see. Service tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Service is Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Sukkot starts Monday evening and Tuesday morning. Services at 10 a.m. And no classes for me this week. Monday night, it'll be the beginning of Sukkot when we're usually meeting for deep dive in Genesis. So no deep dive this week. No Yiddish choir. Not a lot, except Sukkot, the lovely and beautiful festival of Sukkot, the last of the regalim, the last of the shlosh regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals that required us to go to Jerusalem, or in the earlier days before Jerusalem was the center of religious life, to the place that God had pointed out. So that's where we went. And once Jerusalem was established and the temples were built, that became the focal point for the festivals. And apparently, if you read the Gemara or the Talmud, it was a hop in time during the festivals. So, but that's that. I want to thank Sam for being the technical guru, the tech guru, and for Suzanne for lighting the Shabbat candles, and I guess also getting the Kiddush wine together. So there we go. All right. 321, we'll close out. Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yaharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeh B'Tifara Vehu Echad V'Yein Sheni Lahamshir Lo Lahachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'Hamizra Vehu Eli V'Chai Goali V'Tzor Chedli B'Eit Sahara Vehu Nisi Umanosli Manat Kosi B'Yom Ekra B'Yahado Avkid Ruchi B'Eit Shan B'Yahira B'Im Ruchi Gaviyati Adonai Li V'Lo Yira. All right, let's see who says Shabbat Shalom and sends us greetings from all over the place. Well, there's Mom. Shabbat Shalom from Rabbi's mom and Cliff. Well, thank you. Shabbat Shalom to you. Brenda Glick. Shabbat Shalom from Brenda and Billy. Good. Melanie Samuels. Good Shabbos from Melanie in Brooklyn. Well, good Shabbos to you as well. Good Shabbos to everybody out there. Be safe, and we'll see you soon. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.